Oh my fucking god. Okay, move. Oh my god. Funnily enough, has been like a huge performance boost. If you have an NVIDIA GPU, you can do that. Oh, get out of that. Oh, fuck. Get up. Oh my god. The biggest disappointment of 2025. By the way, guys, this video was recorded with my members in the live stream chat. So if you want to be part of the next stream, all you got to do is click that join button down below. You can get started for as low as $1. But more importantly, today we're going to be talking about Monster Hunter Wilds. For those of you who don't know, I actually stopped playing Monster Hunter like half a year ago because this was maybe like the biggest disappointment of 2025. Ironically enough, I was so hyped for this game to where I was like an educated hyped. I was only hyped for this game because Monster Hunter previously never fails. Like, I've been playing Monster Hunter since Monster Hunter 3. Every release, like 4 Generations, World, Rise, all of them were really high quality. So the fact that Wilds came out and it had all of this myriad of issues on top of selling 8 million copies in the first week, you know, it was really disappointing to see because you make that you make that much money. Like, what was it, like $500 million they made off of that in 1 week off of a game that's broken, that's only going to teach Capcom that they can release fucking shitty ass games. So I'm not surprised that it took them roughly a year to fucking fix this shit. That being said, we're gonna see if they actually did. One kind of cool thing to show off before I go on this quest real fast is the equipment changes they made. So there's actually something really cool. There's like a new mechanic. First of all, there's this like awesome J-Rock music that I'm gonna talk about later, but they added a few cool monsters, and along with those monsters, like the Gogmasios, one of the really awesome things about that is now there's custom talismans. So you can actually get these RNG based talismans with loaded up skills. They have like different amount of slots on them. It gives you a lot more customization with your build, but it's all dictated by RNG. So many a man has had to grind a lot just to get something like this. But one of the really awesome things about Gogmasios is they introduced the Gogma R-Team weapons. So you can upgrade an already existing R-Team weapon into like a Gogmasios one. So let's upgrade this one right here. So we got the Tard, we can do attack, we can do affinity, we can do element. Whatever stat we want to raise, let's do element. And then there we go. Then we got the Headsman's Hamus, and then we can go ahead and we can take that and reinforce it even further. And this is where the RNG gets really fun. You can change these reinforcement bonuses on the right-hand side. Or, so you can see that that's exactly what I did here. I just kept going and going until I got better attack boosts on the right-hand side. Or you can completely reset them for different bonuses, which is cool. So we're going to go ahead and do that and then just see which ones we get. So we got affinity boost. We actually got a lot of affinity shit. That's actually really cool. Okay, and then you can look at it with more detail, or you can just click yes and then take that. So that's actually really cool. I'm not going to lie. We got a really good roll on that one. But you can also see in the active skill, so you can add set bonuses from different armor sets to your weapon. And what's cool is, like, for example, Lord Soul, one of the group skills I have is Lord Soul. That activates when you have 3 pieces of armor. Notice how normally you would have to equip like a gamma gamma helm or a gamma waist and maybe like some shoes or something like that. I remember that's what I used to do. Now you can apply that to the actual weapon itself, and it gives you more flexibility. Just a lot of really cool bonuses you can get due to this new system. You could just stack shit on top of each other. It used to be maybe you had like a group skill and a set bonus skill. With this new system plus the charms, you can get so much more flexibility. So I think it's extremely cool that they let you do that. It's quite a grind, but it also gives you more stuff to do at the end of the game. By the way, I wanted to comment on the performance really quick, because that was the biggest problem with Wilds, honestly. Like, just the fact that a whole fucking year, like, after the game came out, it took them this long to come up with their like big performance update, and it's not even really that big. Now, if you're on like higher end hardware like me, if you're on like a 4090, oh shit, get out of this thing. If you're on like a 4090 and then also like 5800 X3D, like, you'll be able to run this game pretty awesome. I'm on basically max settings minus render distance, and the only reason I have render distance set to the lowest is because of my CPU. My CPU is weaker than my GPU, but for the most part, oh shit, get out of that. That's the only real reason why. But if you had like maybe a top tier like CPU along with maybe like a 4090 or a 5090, something like that. This game, you could totally run it at max settings. I also have frame generation on, and that's due to some pretty interesting changes that they've made with frame generation. Because the game's easier to run, now you get less latency with frame generation. So previously, I never played this game with frame gen on. I always kept it off because like the latency was just so fucking bad. Now I actually have frame gen on and it works beautifully. But you can see I'm getting about like 100 FPS. I have the frame gen frame capped a little bit. I'm pretty sure I turned render distance down. But we're still getting like good GPU usage. One really cool thing, and it's not even like the game. It's not even like the game necessarily. But ironically enough, without Capcom having to do anything, the performance of the game got a lot better due to DLSS 4.5. So what that means is if you go into your NVIDIA control panel and you set it to, I believe it's model L, I have it set to, and you go to ultra performance, you get some of the performance benefits of setting your DLSS super low. However, it looks basically like native resolution. It actually looks really awesome. So that funnily enough has been like a huge performance boost to Monster Hunter without Capcom having to do anything. If you have an NVIDIA GPU, you can do that. They also added some new graphics options, so there's some CPU intensive stuff that you can change here, and that's because a lot of the issues with this game performance wise was actually with the CPU. It was a massive issue being able to run this game, and what made it even worse was the fact that they relied on frame generation. And that was like their optimization, when in reality it was a stopgap measure. It wasn't really a legitimate solution to that problem. I am missing out on like 20 to 30 FPS, but I'm pretty sure that's because I'm simultaneously streaming and also recording this video. So I wouldn't be surprised if that had some sort of impact on it. Normally when I'm not recording, I typically get around like 120 flat, which is awesome. That's like the best you could ask for. But for like a 60 FPS stream, like this probably looks just fine too on your guys' end. Oh my God. That's still a thing? That's the first time I've seen that happen in a while. Holy shit. Another thing about this game is visually, it doesn't really look that great. Like it's the colors are so muted. Honestly, it just looks kind of bad. Like just, I mean, you see those like shadows off of the distance. They're just so like grainy, and it's just like certain things that like keep begging for your attention, like certain graphical artifacts that just keep pulling your attention away from what's supposed to be like a good looking game. So one of the best monsters they added in the post game is actually the Final Fantasy 14 collaboration, which is so funny. I am not a Final Fantasy guy like whatsoever. Maybe like Final Fantasy 7. Funnily enough, this is like one of the best monsters they've created in years. I'm gonna go ahead and show you. I like this one just because of how wildly different it is. I really like this fight just because it's designed like an MMO fight, because Final Fantasy 14 is an MMO. But it ironically makes it really fun to dodge stuff, just seeing exactly where it's going to happen. With Monster Hunter, you have to learn the monsters like movements and animations to really figure that stuff out, and it's not communicated in the best way. Whereas like this guy, it's insanely fun because I could oh fuck. I was technically standing in that fire. So this guy, it's insanely fun because I had to change my mentality a little bit. I actually have to treat it like an MMO, so I have to care a lot about positioning. I have to care about who the monster's aggroing. For example, it's currently aggroing one of my teammates. They're gonna have like a little red line on them. Okay, so it's currently aggroed on Olivia, which is good because she's got hammer, so she needs to be around the face anyways. And then, oh yeah, let me whip out that one thing. Another thing I really like, I guess this is a mechanic in FF14. I've never played it, but you can whip these guys out and actually draw things to attack the monster with. Oh fuck, get out of that. Oh, get out of that, dude. Okay, it's aggroed on somebody. Thankfully, it's not me. Oh, get out of that. Oh, fuck. No, get out of that. Get out of that. Oh, it's aggro on me now. Okay, so I need you guys to draw his attention. Yeah, gotta keep my DPS up. There we go. Now we mounted it. Make some weak points on it. Okay, move, move, move. Oh my god. Okay, so when it goes into Panto Crater mode, That's when I gotta be really careful. Because it does like an Alatreon style, like one-shot kill if you let it get away with that. Get out of that, fuck. I really like that they have the whole drawing mechanic, because it's a super convenient way to hit the top, which is normally a part of the monster that's super difficult to hit. You'd have to mount it basically. So sadly, there's none of the iconic guys. There's no Teostra, you know, there's no Teostra, there's no Kushala, there's none of the guys that you normally associate with Monster Hunter. It's all it's Gog, and then it's like Gormagala, which is like a demi elder. So another really cool thing about this game, like post final update, is they actually brought back all of the Arc Tempered quests. I like this crazy fucking J-Rock song. This plays when you're fighting Omega, like once you get it like half health. It's the craziest fucking song of all time. I've been wanting to do this fight ever since they took it away. I loved grinding this out back when they had it. The fact that I could go back and do it now, dude, AT Radar was so fun. Get up, get up, get up, get up, get up. Oh my god. Oh yes, perfect timing. Oh shit. Oh my fucking god. It'd be sick to see Godzilla DLC in this game. That would go hard. I'm surprised they haven't done a collab like that already. They've been doing a lot of other stuff. They've been doing collabs with the weirdest things. Like with Street Fighter, it kind of makes sense because all the collabs they've been doing is like hip hop stuff. Whereas like in this game, it's like, oh, here's our collab with Fender, and it's like I don't understand how those two even like come together. But one cool thing they've been doing is just making the whole game harder, which was it was the biggest improvement the game needed, really. Like everything was just way too fucking easy. But yeah, let me show you Gogmazios. It really sucks that there's no proper Elder Dragons in this game. It's just Gogmazios, and Gogmazios is only an Elder Dragon by technicality because the devs say it is, and then like there's not even like a real reason for it. Gonna hit his face and his big hand. That's how we're gonna do the most damage. Ooh my god. Ooh, good thing I predicted that. Holy shit. I couldn't quite see him. This is kind of cool about Gogmazios. You actually have to grab these fibers and then connect them to the anti-wyvern gun. And then, of course, he's able to attack you while you're doing this. Okay, this is gonna hit, right? Yes, okay, cool. The anti-wyvern gun is so cool. I love that element of this fight. But yeah, the game needed more difficult content for like the longest time, and it took a little while. It took like a year, but it finally got it. And I think all of the high-end like gear customization mechanics they added with it are super, super cool. I am a humongous fan. It effectively brought back the Quirio crafting from Rise, which was one of my favorite mechanics. You could apply just about any skill to any piece of armor, and it gave so much customization. There was so much like player expression you could make with all these different builds. But it was also super cool in terms of like optimization, where it's like you had so many tools you could play around with. So having some, even if it's like somewhat of a diet version of the Quirio crafting from Rise, having it in some form was such a cool thing. Now that he kind of lingers to the ground, let's go ahead and try to mount him. Fuck. Compact anti-wyvern gun. Oh, is there new slinger ammo? Did I never? Oh my god. Oh, it's off of him. Okay, cool. Wow, I just found out something live. I didn't even realize this was a thing. Okay, we have to cancel this out. Okay, we have to get behind Fabius. Where is he? Oh, I'm fucked. I'm fucked. I'm dead. Get up, get up, get up, get up there. What do you do? Oh. I was like, where's Fabius? And he's on the complete opposite side of the arena. But these recent fights that they've added are insanely fun. I actually really like them compared to what they were adding previously. Gogmazios actually gives those shield guys a little bit of a buff, because that one like Nova attack that killed me, if you have a shield, you can just stand there and hide behind it, and it actually works. So that encourages like somebody in your party to have some sort of shield weapon, whether it be Lance or I forget what else. I actually don't know if Greatsword would work either, because Greatsword has that blocking feature, right? Maybe it would work. But I also really enjoy seeing this guy in particular, because the last handful of the last handful of like DLC monsters that they've added were all recycled from Rise, and it really pisses me. It was one of the reasons why I got so pissed at this game. Gormagala, I'm not surprised that monster's in this game, because they conveniently have a Gormagala skeleton model, like animation textures from Rise. All they had to do was basically just retexture them. They brought back what's his name, Serigio. They brought back Mizutsune. Legia Cruz was kinda original, but the other shitty thing about Legia Cruz was the fact that, can I hit that wound, please? The shitty thing about Legia Cruz was the fact that they made a big deal about it. They're like, oh, their swimming combat is coming back. And I was like, oh, they're going to add like a whole swimming area to like one, maybe like all of the maps. And it turned out it was like the shittiest feature they probably added to this game. It made like so little difference. There's nowhere to swim. And you can't, when you're swimming, you can't really do anything. Is that not a wound? What the hell? It looks kind of like a tempered wound. Oh, it's the. That's not going to be confusing or anything. Okay, he's charging up again. I'm gonna hang around Fabius. But this is super cool. So any player with the shield can do this, which is so awesome. The fact that we're giving like underused weapons more utility. That's something that we haven't really seen in Monster Hunter before. It's so cool that they're actually thinking of that stuff. Because previously with like Alatreon and Jin Dahad, you couldn't do that. This is like the true final boss of this game. It just sucks that like, it feels like it needed like a little bit more. You know what I mean? Like, it's still a really fun and super cool fight, but I think Omega takes the cake as far as like new monsters they added. Fabius, come on. Fabius. Jesus fucking Christ. Shield, dude, shield. Fabius, you let me down, dude. What the hell? Fabius, you're fucking pissing me off. Fuck off. He just stood there and looked around. I can't believe he just fucking stood there and looked around like a fucking Roblox character. Like, if you think this video is funny so far, go ahead and give it a like and subscribe. Odds are you got a pretty fucked up sense of humor like I do, so you belong here. Jesus. Okay, I think we're gonna do Legia Cruz next, just so I can illustrate what I was talking about earlier. So Legia Cruz was one of the monsters I was most excited for, but it was ironically the monster that made me like start fucking hating this game. It was the only real unique monster we got. We got Mizutsune and Serigio. I mean, I know Legia Cruz was from Monster Hunter 3. Compared to like Mizutsune or Serigio, it was more pleasant to have that, because like those two monsters were already in Rise. So like they conveniently had, like I said, animations, textures, like the model, the skeletons, like they had everything they needed to just like pump those monsters out as fast as possible. So Legia Cruz was like the only one that actually like took some amount of effort. Unfortunately, you can see where they cut the corners with Legia Cruz, and it was just one of those things that like made me stop fucking playing this game. But it sucked. Here's this like fan favorite monster from like prehistoric Monster Hunter games, basically like old ass Monster Hunter games. I know so many people who are so excited for Legia Cruz. And then I can't wait till we get to the swimming part, because that's the biggest fucking problem. Like the rest of the monster in general is really good, but it was, oh my god. That's like the first time they've ever productively knocked a monster into something I was doing. Usually they knock it away. It never ges like knocked towards the thing I'm trying to accomplish. That's another kind of shitty thing about this game too. I really cannot give a shit about these characters. And when I was doing the Gogmazios like story chapters, like the new story they added with Gogmazios, like they made such a big deal out of all these fucking characters. They're like, oh, you have to, after you beat Gogmazios, you one by one walk up to each of them and you're all like farewell character that I like never fucking knew existed. Like it was so embarrassing. There was so much like put into this moment that wasn't like earned up to, you know what I mean? It was just it was the weirdest fucking thing they could have done. So in Monster Hunter 3 they actually had proper swimming combat, and you know, a lot of people, they weren't really a huge fan of it. It was kind of too slow, too clunky. In this game you can actually dive into the water. But unfortunately, you'd think, oh, okay, now I can like swim towards Lagia Cruz and press the Y button and start hitting him, right? Like I can start swinging towards them, even if it's like a little slow and shitty, like it'd still be cool to have underwater combat. No, what you do is you bring out the clutch claw, and I think it's like right bumper. Yeah, you bring out the clutch claw, and then you just mount him. So they recycled all of the code and animations and assets associated with mounting a monster and just made it happen underwater. And like when I saw this, keep in mind, like when they were teasing this update, they made such a huge fucking deal about it. They were like, oh, we're adding whole new movement mechanics to Monster Hunter, and it's like, it's just this. It's literally just this. You just clutch claw and then hit right bumper and then hope you don't get hit off. And it's They took all of the depth of the combat of Monster Hunter, like turned it down to 2 inputs, and that's why I fucking hate Lagia Cruz so much. There was so much potential to make this something actually cool, and then it's just this. It's just literally this. And it's not even like his attacks are that hard to dodge underwater. If anything, adding the 3rd dimension to it makes it even easier to like get away with shit. I'm pretty sure this part of the fight exists just to stall for time, because you can't really like kill Lagia Cruz underwater. Whole new movement, aka recycle equipment. Exactly. And it's so funny because so many people bitched about the clutch claw not being in this game. Now it's in this game, it just only exists underwater. It's just kind of shit that they basically took an idea from World and like made it work. Like it was just diet clutch claw. He's probably low on health. I don't quite see the health bar, but yeah, there we go. That's why they were trying to trap him. Yeah, that's the part that was the moment I was like, I don't care what DLC monsters they add, they're not sending their best. Like, is your mount a chocobo? No, but I think you can do that. Hold on, let me see if you can. I think there's like a chocobo skin or something like that. Yeah, there we go. Again, like another reason why the Final Fantasy 14 collab is so good. There's just so much wacky shit. I really like the music. I really like the music they added. I really like the fucking it's just so cool. Let's do Omega right now. So all of this begs the question, you know, did they actually fix the problems that the game had? First of all, the game wasn't really running so great. You know, that was like the biggest problem, just the fact that it didn't run so great on people's hardware. It runs better now. It runs significantly better, honestly. That quest was kind of boring. Yeah, it sucked ass. But it runs better, and that's the most important part. For like a AAA game, especially one that doesn't look that great, you would hope it would at least run awesome. And it's funny coming back to Rise after playing this game, because it's like that game also doesn't look great, but at least it runs amazing. Like you could run it on like the bare minimum, whereas like this game, it was hard to run and it looks kind of ass. But also, is the game hard enough for end game results? Well, I really like Omega. Omega is the perfect balance between, like, for me, it's like the perfect balance between it's hard enough, it's a unique and fun enough fight, and also the fact that like it's just a good, well-designed fight overall. Gogmazios I would probably put like second below Omega, only because like there were some cool ideas, but it suffers kind of from the Lagia Cruz syndrome, where it's like the gun, you only get to use it once. So it's like, I get it. It does all the damage it does because you only get to use it once. I feel like if they integrated more like artillery aspects to it, like if it was kind of like that Volcana defense quest in like Monster Hunter World, for example, or if it was like a true raid style monster like Jin Dahad, that would have added a little more to it. What other Gunner skins you got? I actually don't know if I have any. I don't think I have any Gunner mods installed. I hope G rank, or like the fucking like master rank expansions of this game, is where we finally get to see fucking Teostra. It's where we finally get Kushala. It's where we finally get like some of those elder dragons that we've been desperately missing. Because if we look through the if we were to look through like the monster field guide, just the fact that they're just rise monsters, they exist just to like fill the space. Same with Gormagala. I was not a big fan of Gormagala, but we don't have any of the like the flagships, you know what I mean? Some of the monster choices they made in this game are really, really unfortunate. I mean, the fact that we've had Angela for a third game in a row is really fucking stupid. But there's like a place in my heart that like goes out to Teostra. You know what I mean? Like, why no Teostra? Why? There's already like a hot area in this game too. I wonder if it's just because they think it would compete with the Apex monsters. Like, if they introduced 1 or 2 Elder Dragons, then I would be happy. You know what I mean? It's the fact that they neglected them all together, which makes me think they're probably saving them for Master Rank. I would hope so anyways. I think that'll be a wrap for the video, honestly. I think that's just about everything I wanted to show. Ooh, yes. There we fucking go. Get out of that. Get out of that. Oh, my God.